Okay, so for this week, this is what our calendar has on the agenda for us. It's nothing, not really anything extravagant or nothing outrageous, pretty much a normal type of Forex week on the news front. Just a couple of things to look out for, ones that kind of hit the spotlight a little bit more than normal. We have the USD unemployment claims on Thursday. If you're trading GBP, Wednesday is a big day for GBP. We have there, and Thursday retail sales there as well. They're pretty much the highlights of the week. Tomorrow for our Aussie dollar we have our monetary policy meeting and notes or the minutes that come out. Other than that, the euro a little bit here with the German and French PMI figures over here, but nothing really extravagant or nothing sort of non-farm payroll type of impact. Any Kiwi dollar traders, the trade balance on Friday morning, you could see an early spike or drop depending on those figures through there. For most of us, or at least for myself, usually by the time I get an opportunity to look at a chart, my charts have already had the impact of any Kiwi-based data because it happens so early in the morning. All right, that's pretty much the highlights for this week. We'll go through individually in a moment and have a bit of a look. Also, Tuesday, China data here is impacting on our Aussie dollar. Okay, I just forgot to mention that. But other than that, that's pretty much it's what we would call a standard week in the world of FX. So, and you'll understand my point of view on news. I tend to trade the strategies and stick to it unless I'm doing something very short intra-term, like if I was trading a London-based strategy during the session, like on Wednesday here. I just need to be aware of that 7:30 time slot, and I don't really want to be entering trades anything later than about 6:30 so that I don't get caught up in that hype. Okay, all right, so let me get rid of that and we will get straight into it. I'll bring up my charts and we'll start off with the Aussie dollar this week. Now, if you recall last week, as I just changed my pen color, last week we were over here somewhere. Okay, and I said to you guys, look out, it looks to me like we're going to start to get that converging triangle, and that's just experience, just watching the markets for a long time, and you can see we've got it now. Okay, both sides of this triangle are very, very well defined. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 touches on the bottom. We've got 3 touches at the top. This is about as good as it gets. Okay, now before we discuss any possible trades that may take place here, I just want to show you something just so that start to get experience on how to develop these for yourself. All right, now we could have easily at one point had this line drawn as I'm drawing it right now, like this. Okay, because when we saw on Monday we were over here somewhere, the market goes up, does it touch, we're not sure, but as soon as it comes back and touches down the bottom, we can actually kind of draw this line in as such. All right, now the most important thing that I really want to emphasize over here, this doesn't look like the best kind of converging triangle. They should look to you something like this. Okay, that's what we should be looking for. This one here, you can see that it's the top one is just way too steep. It's just not quite right. It doesn't look like that. Okay, so now if anybody did trade out of that zone, so what I'm talking about, oops, let me just erase these markings. If anybody tried to trade out of there, it's not the worst thing that you could have done, okay, but it's not technically a proper triangle. Did anybody try and trade out of that? Can I just get a show of hands? Because we did talk about this last week and we said to keep an eye on it. Did anybody try and take a trade out of there? No? Okay. Can everybody see that it's not the best looking converging triangle and you're understanding what I'm trying to draw? Yep. Okay. So now basically with any support line work or channels or anything like that, you've got to find yourself constantly moving these levels to you find that where they kind of match up. To me, this now looks like a proper converging triangle, and I'm happy to trade this one out. Okay, we've already spoken about it. We've got 4 touches down the bottom, 3 touches at the top. So now we're looking to pull the trigger. Which way would you like to go on this one, guys? Do we have a preference? Do we want a break up or a break down? Okay, we got Sam down, Rod up, Roy down, Lois up, Michael doesn't care, Rick doesn't mind, Murphin down, Stephen down. Okay, look, I'm not going to worry too much about the direction on this one. If I had to favour it a little bit, I'm going to favour it a little bit towards the downside, mainly because we're coming from an area up here and then we're consolidating, and this is traditionally what would favour more. So I would prefer a downward break. I'm still happy to trade upwards. Okay, so now that we've identified it, and by the way, I'm on a 4-hour chart here, very, very important. Okay, so these are very, very well defined swing highs and swing lows. Now we've got to figure out how we're going to trade it. Now what I suggest, I can't place a trade today on it because I don't know the levels. Okay, but for anybody who is newer in the room, the way that I would do this, there's 2 ways. Okay, if I'm aggressive out of it, and let's concentrate on the upward. It's identical both direction, up or down. I'm looking for the same thing. Okay, but I'll do the upward one. If it was upwards, what I want is I want a bullish candle, hopefully with not too much wick at the top. Okay, if it's got a bigger wick at the bottom, I don't care, but at the top I prefer it to have a very small wick or no wick at all. Okay, if I get a candle that looks like that, and obviously this would be a blue candle, all right, at the open of the very next candle, that's it. I'm in the trade. Okay, and as a target, what I'm looking for is, the way I like to do it is I'd like to go somewhere at the aperture of that triangle. That's the distance that I would be looking for, but I've got to measure it from down here somewhere. So I've got to match that distance there, and that would be my target. Okay. Lois is saying, although it was coming down, it has had a higher bottom each time. Okay, yes, correct. So Lois is saying that these bottoms are getting higher. So it's pushing towards the upside. Okay, all right. So we are looking for a bullish candle out. If you're a little bit more conservative, wait for a candle to finish on the outside, and then what you may want to wait for is a pullback into this area here somewhere, okay, and then take the trade over there. The problem with this one is that if you don't get the pullback, you just completely miss out on the trade. All right. So those are the 2 options, but that's basically what we're looking for. We're looking for a break out of the triangle. Now, when I trade this type of pattern, I never really take a straight break on this line. So as soon as it leaves through there, I don't, because what might happen is you could just get the wick there, and then it comes back and all the body of the candle is back inside the triangle, and it's like a false break. Okay, so I don't like to take the false break. I want the candle to close on the outside. That's my confirmation, and then I enter the trade. Alright, any questions on that, guys? Just type it in if you do. Let's talk about the stop. Let's say that we get an entry around about here somewhere. I'm just guessing, which would put me at about, it'll be a buy at around about 88.30 as an example. Alright, my stop, look, if I did it properly, I like to put my stop on the other side of the triangle. Okay, and if I'm using this as target, okay, I can see that puts me at about, I'm just doing this visually, so it's 2 and a little bit, so 2 at about there, so it puts me about there. So I can still see that this distance, which is my target compared to that stop, is at least about 1 point, to me it looks about 1.6-ish, 1.5-ish. Okay, I'm just doing that visually. Does everybody understand what I've just described there? Yeah? Okay, great. So that's what I would be looking for. That's if I get the entry at 88.30. What sometimes happens, and it's a little bit annoying when this happens, is that the candle that breaks out is so big and finishes up all the way up there. Okay, so now you're entering the trade a lot higher, which changes the risk ratio of the trade as well. All right. If you want to avoid that and you really want to get in, another or a third way to get in would be as follows. What you do is notice that high that I'm just marking out right now. What you can do is you can put a pending order just straight, say 4 or 5 pips above it, and then as soon as we just trigger straight into the trade. Okay, the danger there again is that that could just be the wick, and then it comes back like I said and the candle closes on the inside. Alright, but that's one way that you can get around it. Alright, so with this one we are going to have to wait. I'm thinking if it's going to break upwards, it's going to be around about 88.30. If it breaks downwards, which is what I prefer, it could be around about the 86.50 level entry. All right, and if it does break downwards, what you'll find is, let me just compress up a little bit, because all these levels are very tight together. Let's say the candle closes down there. As soon as it takes out all of this, it'll just shoot down pretty quickly. All right, because you get the feeling that there's a lot of downward pressure on the Aussie dollar, and it could be a really nice trade. So the downward trade should give a result quicker than the upward trade. All right, does everybody understand what I'm basically saying? Yep, fantastic. All right, so that's the Aussie dollar. For this one, I've got my awesome oscillator here, just checking divergence, but as we're starting to get into this narrow section of the triangle, you're not really going to see much down with the indicator down the bottom. I just got it on there because I was just looking at for some other things as well. There's no fib levels that I can really trade out of this, so the trade that I'm looking for is I'm just looking for this break. So I'll try and watch it, and if I see it, I'll send a picture as close to live as I possibly can. Okay, so and I'll have to tweet it out for you guys. All right. Okay, let's move on. Let's have a look at the Euro USD. Okay, Euro USD. I'm on a 4-hour chart here. We had a bit of a channel last week, and we had to just readjust the channel lines a little bit. Now, for me, right now, we are definitely trading in that channel very much right in the money. Okay, so the only things that I'm really looking for right now on the Euro USD is I want to draw every time we get close towards the fringes. Like if this comes in this area here, I need to see what's happening, or every time we get towards the top, need to see what's happening. And ideally, the trade that may come out of this is like a really nice downward break, okay, going against the gradient of the channel. You would be either trading breaking out of it, or you're trading inside the channels like that. Okay, they're the only three possible types of trades that you can do. You don't want to trade in that direction. Okay, it's a much more difficult trade. My preferred one is this one down the bottom. Okay, this one here that I'm just highlighting right now, but you can trade within the channel. All right, so let's have a look and see if we can find anything. Let me just check some fib levels as well, and I'll see what's available or what's not. Just give me a moment. Okay, I found one straight off the bat and I didn't see that before. Can everybody see it? What's the level? If you can see it, just call it out. We're on the Euro USD. I'm on a 4-hour chart. No, it's not the 50%. It's not the 38% either. It's not 125. Okay, Elizabeth has got it. It's the 61.8 retracement. Can you read it off my chart? So what I've done is I've gone from down here all the way to the top, up there, and if I come down to there, I am on the 61.8 retracement, which falls on the 126.48, so it's close to the 126.50. So 126.50. Can everybody see it now? So this is the trade that we're looking at. We all agree on that? Yep. Okay. Now, I've had a few emails throughout the week about different results that you guys are getting using this method, and I've had also a look at some of the trades that you've taken, and a lot of the times we're not quite picking the best 2 points. Okay. Now, what you notice that I went straight to my daily chart. Okay. On my daily chart, I can clearly see that this is definitely the bottom, and that is definitely so far a high. Okay, so this path that I've chosen is a valid path. All right. Now, when I go back into my 4-hour chart, I can get a little bit lost in there. So let me go to my 4-hour chart. Now, let me just get rid of some of these lines. Okay. Sometimes I could be tempted to use this point and this point, okay? But this one here is not necessarily my significant low, all right? And I'll show you what I mean. So I'll just highlight it with a different, let me just mark that. So just say those 2 points there that I've grayed out. Watch what happens when I go into my daily chart. Look at the points that I've chosen on my daily chart, okay? If I zoom in a little bit, you can see the 2 grayed out areas there, here and here, and it's not really the low and the high. Does everybody agree with that? Yep, we agree? Okay. When you pick the wrong points, it dramatically changes your hit ratio. I reviewed someone's email today, and I won't mention who it was, but I can't remember the name right now in any case. But they were running at about 35% win ratio with this particular method, and they had taken, I think, 16 or 12 trades. Now, the bottom line was that they were actually still up. They were up about 7 pips. Not a lot, but they were up. But a lot of the trades, this was happening. They were picking the wrong points, okay? So sometimes you've got to step out a little bit and look at the picture from a bit further away, and it's much easier to see where you actually are. Okay, so on a 4-hour chart, it kind of looks okay, but these are not the best 2 points. The best 2 points are, in fact, those two that I've just highlighted for you. So now I'll grab my fib tool, I stick it down the bottom, go right to that top, and now I can clearly see that I'm getting a very nice level here at the 61.8. Which is at 126.50. Okay, so we got to make some decisions right now. Off the channel, I can't take a trade right now because we're right in the middle of that channel. What I'm a little bit worried about is that if we do break that channel down, that channel is very well defined. What may happen, it may just shoot straight through us. Okay, so now we've got to make a decision. What do we want to do, guys? Do we want to put in a pending buy at 126.50? The levels are good, or do we want to try and trade the channel down? I'll go with the majority. I'm happy to take both. So what do we want? Just type in 61.8 or type in channel. What would you prefer? Channel break or the 61.8 buy? Okay, Steve says. Okay, so we've got 2 channels, 3 channels, channels. The channels went in. Okay, all right, we won't place this order then. Michael's asking, aren't the breakouts in 61 in conflict? Yes, they are, Michael. They are in conflict. That's why I'm asking the question, what do we prefer, guys, to trade the channel breakdown or try and take a buy at the 61.8? See, the 61.8 fib combination type trade is a counter trend. All right. Okay, if we're going to take the channel, let me get rid of those fibs. I do like that fib though, but I won't take it. So let me just delete it off my chart. And what we're going to look for now is we are going to look for activity at the perimeters of the channel. Okay, let me just check if I'm going to channel trade. I'm just seeing if there's anything. No. Okay. All right, we have to wait then, guys. What we're waiting for is we're waiting to see what happens around here. Okay, either 2 things could be happening. We're either going to be looking for a little bit of divergence here so that we can trade back in to the channel, or we're going to look for a break to trade back out as such. We're just going to have to watch it, and we can't place a trade right now. We all good? Lois is saying it could go back up the channel. That's right. Yes, it could. Whilst I'm on the topic, I don't think I've ever mentioned this before, but I'll just cover it right now. Whenever you have a channel, okay, and it's a very well-established channel like this one is, grab another line and stick it right down the middle of the channel, or make it parallel and stick it down the middle, and let me just get it in the right spot. And try and notice if more of the activity is happening in the bottom part of that section, or if it's happening on the top part. Okay, it's usually a very, very good indicator of which way the market will be breaking. All right, so what usually happens, what can happen is if more of the activity starts to happen down the bottom, you'll find that this top line starts to act as resistance, and the market may do this, and then just break down like that. Okay, so usually when I have a channel, I like to have a look with a middle line. I didn't have one on this one because it's pretty much even up and down, but it's just another little tip that will help you when you see that. Okay, let's wait. If I see it happen live, I'll push it out. So I don't have anything to place on the Euro USD unless someone wanted to place that 126.50 buy. Okay, let's move on. GBP USD. Okay, GBP USD. Last week we were tracking this triangle and it broke down. Did anybody take this trade there? I believe it happened late at night, so I didn't do it. I didn't take it, but did anybody take it? Okay, a few of you missed it. Okay, it was definitely this week, Alan. This is only a 4-hour chart. That I think it happened on Monday night from memory. Okay, all right. So that's happened. Now, what I wanted you to notice is I found a couple of things on the GBP this week. The first thing to notice is that this top line is still holding. Okay, so we can actually take a trade breaking up from that line if you want to. That's one possible trade. Let me just get rid of a couple of things on my chart. So let me get rid of this bottom line. So if anybody's interested, and can everybody see that we are starting the, not quite. No, I thought I was monitoring the divergence, but it's looking like we may get a little bit of divergence. So okay, this is what I think may happen. And often when you look at charts, you've got to start to imagine the trade before it actually happens. This is what I think could happen. It could go up to there somewhere. Okay. When we get there, this indicator might be up here somewhere. So you have all these up here, and what you're going to be getting is divergence down, which be a pull, a trade in there. I know it's a lot of imagination, but this is how you have to start to see your trades before they actually happen. Okay, now the reason why I'm thinking all of that is, one, there's a lot of pressure right now here building right there, so this wants to go further up, and now I've drawn these little grayed out areas, and let me draw your attention to them right now, and I'll show you why I've drawn them. Okay, first, if I do a fib, I'm on a 4-hour chart. If I draw a fib from there to the bottom, I get a 78.6. So what I've done is I've gone from there to this bottom, and then if I pull up, I get a 78.6 matching with a 161.50 or 51 sell. Okay, it's a valid level. The only reason I don't like it a great deal is because there's not enough room here between that and that, which to me says if this pushes and breaks, it's going to push more than that area and could stop us out. Does everybody understand my reasoning? I know it may seem a little bit crazy, but I've watched this market for so long, and when this much pressure is building, that push can be just a bit too big and it'll wreck this trade. Okay, so this is one reason. This is a valid level, by the way. 161.50 sell. If anybody places that, it could be a winning trade. I don't know. But what I don't like is that there's not enough room because we have to break to get there. Okay, and in the process of breaking, the pressure is so great that it's a higher probability that the pressure to break is going to be too much, and it's going to break, put you into the trade, and continue and stop you out. Okay, now look at my second level. Let's have a look at the second level that I picked for us. By the way, that's a 4-hour chart. Look what happens when I step into let me just mark it. This is the area, and this is the area that I chose. Oh, come on. Down there. Step out to a daily chart, and it's not bad. It's an okay area. It's valid. It's significant high. It's a significant low. See, it's come from So it's okay. The level is good. All right. So always, if you're not sure, just step out one time frame and check the points that you chose to see if they still look like a significant high and a significant low. The key to this method is that you need a significant high and a significant low, otherwise it doesn't work as well. Okay? All right. Now the one that I actually like is this one. That is definitely a low, so let me just pick up my fib and I'll take it up to there. Okay, and step out to a daily chart, and the 2 points that I've chosen is that one and that one there, and they look better. To me, they look better. Okay, so what I've done is I've gone from there all the way there, and I'm just trying to see where it's going to retrace to. So I actually like that as a significant high and a low better than the other two, but the other one was okay. Let's see where it puts us. Step back into my 4-hour chart. Okay, can everybody see the trade now? What's the level? Call it out if you can see it. Okay, yes, Alan, Rick, we got a 162 at 50%. Now, at 162, so let me get rid of this previous one, it gives me a little bit more room to push out of this break and pull around. So I actually like this one, so I'm going to place it right now, and this will be our first trade of the day. Let me spell it out for everybody. What I've done is I've picked that high, gone all the way down to the bottom, and then if we market pulls back to the 50% area there, I'm going to sell it at 162. Okay, so I'm going to place this one, and this one will go down as part of the trading challenge as well. Okay, and we'll do a 20-40 on this one. Okay, if you pick your points consistently like this, where they genuinely are the significant high and the low, you're going to run, even if you have a bad run, I think you're still going to run at about 40-45% win ratio. And at 2-1, the numbers are very, very good. Okay, the key to it is picking the correct spots. All right, and understanding things like this. All right, because there's a little bit of pressure here. We have to push to break it, and I think that push will get us in and hopefully hold us into the trade, and we can pull back and make a win on it. Okay, so let's place it. Okay, I'm going to go in at 162 even. My stop will be to 62.20, and my take profit's going to be 61.60. Let me tag it and place it. Okay, and there you can see my trade. I'm waiting for that. Hopefully it triggers us in there, it comes back like that. We all good? Everybody understand what's happening? And if that happens, it kind of matches what I was thinking before, that I was thinking that the market could possibly go out to there some level, and we could get also the divergence happening up there as well. I don't know, but just we'll check it next week. We'll review it. A lot of times with the trading, it's about imagining the trade before it actually happens. Okay. All right, let's move on. Gold. Okay, that's a daily chart on gold. I believe last week when we were looking at this, I drew in this grey area that you can see on my chart, which matched this bottom over here, and basically I was suggesting that the market could go back to that area and it may find it a little bit more difficult. What would be interesting now, if I add in another line down the center of that, let me just make it parallel first, of that channel, you're starting to see that it does look like what may happen. Start to look for this to trade on the downside. Okay, so if this level was to hold, for example, and it starts to come down, then the next time round you can trade it off these levels there. Okay, so for now it's a new concept for you, so just put it in and just monitor it so that you can start to get familiar with it. Okay, look, if you're very aggressive, we are at a position that you could short gold right now. Okay, that area where we are matches this to the left. It's also through the center, and it seems to be a little bit resistive, so if you wanted to take a short right now, it wouldn't be the worst that you could do. I'm not going to take it, but that's pretty much all that I have on gold at this stage. Does anybody have any questions on it or something that you want me to look at? And I'll look at that. I'll give you a moment to type it in. Just type it in and I'll address it for you. No, we're all good? Okay, if I see your question pop up, I'll come back to it. Okay, so for this week on gold, if anybody really wanted to go short right now, you're at a level that you could. If we're going to talk about stops, I'll just show you visually. So let's say you entered around about there. Look, if we break that top, just give it a little bit more. So if you got to about that level, well then the trade's wrong. You can just bail out. Okay, so and if you're going to try and trade it down to about this level there, you can see that it's about a 3-to-1 kind of trade. All right, so if we're talking about probabilities, the risk reward is in our favor. It's just a matter of if you like the trade or if you don't like the trade. Okay, there you go. Let me carry on. Okay, let's have a look at the US yen. There's two things that I really want to highlight to you with the US yen. Okay, the first thing is I saw this trade. I think I saw it on Friday, but this morning the market opened above the level that I really wanted to get in, and I didn't have a pending order in the system. But basically, what I saw was that when I took a high from up there all the way down to here, and you went here on the 38.2, we were sitting at 107, okay, or 106.99, so there was a good opportunity to go down. I saw it, but I never placed the order, and this morning when the market opened, it opened above that, so it would have been a failed one had I taken it. Now, there's two things that I want to concentrate on right now, and it's starting to affect market behavior. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit so I can show it to you. I'm going to mark the two areas of interest. Can anybody see what I'm getting at right now? Does anybody have a clue what I'm talking about before I spell it out? Anybody want to have a guess? Those two grey areas are a big clue. Let me get rid of these fib levels so I don't distract you. That's it. Lois got it? Okay. There are two still open gaps in the market one from last week and one from this week. Okay, and the market right now is trading in between both of them. So what I'm saying is this. Last week, the market left that gap, which is that grey area up the top. And today, it's left this area, which still hasn't been closed up. So now the market is in, there's a little bit of a struggle between gap traders and technical traders. Well, they're both the same thing, I guess, but two different methodologies, and the market's in here. So there's a lot of push to try and close that, and there's also a lot of push to try and close this one. All right, so look, if I was gonna, it's right now it's right in the middle, so I don't know which one I would favour more than the other. Okay, I would suggest that the top gap, a lot of those people have already been stopped out because the market went so far against them, so they're out of the money. Okay, so but you never know. There's some stubborn ones out there that are still holding, and if their positions are still holding, they're still forcing the issue upwards. But a whole bunch of new ones have come in this morning trying to push it back down. So we're kind of in between. All right. Now, for me, it's not my preferred method of trading, so I don't really, it doesn't bother me at all. So I'm looking for different things, but I just thought I'd mention it just in case any of you are in this particular position. So for me, what I'm looking for is, I'm just trying to see if I can find us another level. And let me draw a couple of fibs and let's see what we got. I'm just going to go a daily chart first just so I don't get confused. Those 2 points that I've picked there are my preferred points because it's basically that big high up there and this big low down there. And does it fall anywhere? Not really. I'll just jump into a 4-hour chart now just to check. Not really. It's not falling anywhere. There's a 109. It's a little bit out of the money. It's not quite on. So no, I'll leave it. The only other one that might interest me is, and I want it to be significant, so I'm going to pick this bottom one, and on the assumption that this becomes the high, I'm looking for anything downwards, and there's nothing there either. So for me, US yen this week, I'm just not going to touch it. Okay, when these gaps clear out and they become obsolete, then I might be a little bit more interested. But right now, I really can't get a level. Does anybody else have a level that they like? Paul says triple top. Let me have a look. Did I miss something? I can't see that, Paul. Are we talking about the US yen? Are you referring to these points over here? Are those the ones that you mean, Paul? Okay, I'll just wait for that response. Look, US yen this week, let's just leave it alone. Okay, if anybody wants to trade gaps, there's two there. The stops aren't too big, so I guess it's you can position yourself in there somewhere if you want to have a go at it. Okay, but I'm not, so I will move on. Euro yen. Okay, Euro yen. I'm on a daily chart right now. We can clearly see that I've got the significant high and the significant low captured. I've drawn in my fib all the way down there and I'm coming back in this direction. And can everybody see the trade? That's the trade that I'm looking for. It's a 61.8 falling on a half round number, which is a 138.51. It's close enough. I'm happy to place that. Who likes that trade? Does anybody strongly disagree? Okay, fantastic. All right, so let me just go ahead and place that one. Before I do one last check, I just want to check a 4-hour chart, see if I missed anything. No, the levels are good. Okay, so here we go. So 38. I'm going to try and catch it at 50. right on 50, so, and my stop's going to be 38.70. So we'll go 20.40, and my target's going to be 38.10. We'll tag it and hit the button, and there we go. So basically what we've done, what we're waiting for is for the market to come up and hit us and then pull back into that take profit and not go too far. Okay, we all clear on that one? And this one will also be part of the trading challenge. So that's 2 trades for today. I'll summarize them right at the end. Okay, that's all I got for the Euro Yen this week. Kiwi Dollar. Okay, Kiwi Dollar is an interesting one here, and I can see that we're just starting to break. We've been consolidating, okay, and now so let me get rid of this area. Been consolidating, and with a slight upward incline, we can see that we're definitely in a channel. Okay, there's many touches. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 at the top. Look at the bottom. It's got many touches. It's a valid channel. Okay, so happy in there. Now the other thing that I noticed, if I step into a 1-hour chart, okay, if I go in there, within the channel, I'm noticing this nice triangle. Okay, and I'm noticing right now that we're just starting to come out of it. Now, to be honest with you, I was kind of hoping that it went the other way, because there's basically more room for a profitable trade on the downside than the upside. That's it, simple as that. So I was kind of hoping to get triggered in there somewhere and ride the trade to the bottom. If I get triggered in there somewhere, I've got less space. That was my only concern. If I'm still trying to trade within the channel, okay. Now, if I'm going to trade a channel, I can trade a straight breakout. What do you guys think? Does anybody have a preference? Can you see what I'm trying to highlight for you and what I can see? So if I go back into my 4-hour chart, there is a channel, and within the channel we're starting to get a nice converging triangle. Okay, what could happen is it could break the triangle and break the channel, and you get a really good entry, because this little triangle will get you an early entry into a breakout of the actual channel itself. Okay, so meaning, so we had this scenario that it breaks and then it breaks again and then it just continues, so you get into the trade very early, or likewise the other way around. Okay, in any case, it's not quite ready, but it looks to me that on the 1-hour time frame we may just about be there. So let me just have another look. What you may want to do, I think your entry level is going to be at around about 79.70, around about, so basically in this little area here. Okay, we got an hour to, we got 40 minutes to see where this blue candle, the current candle, to see where this finishes. If this blue candle closes, okay, let's listen to this. If it closes above that high, you're ready to go. Okay, if you want to take this one. All right, so this one, because I can't place a pending order, it's not going to be a trade in the challenge. But if you want the trade and it closes above that area that I've just indicated, it's it'd be a correct trade to take and ready to go. Okay, and in terms of pips, there's about 40 odd pips in that trade. Okay, and the trade will be running. It's almost a 1-to-1 though. Okay, so if anybody likes it, there it is, Kiwi Dollar. Look out, you've got 40 minutes to wait for this candle and see where we're at. Okay, finally, the last one for today is the Euro Aussie. Okay, on the Euro Aussie, I did find us a level. A couple of things to note. We're again trading in a channel today, so there's quite a few channels, and most importantly, we are right on the fringe of, or right on the border of the channel. Okay, so right here. So we could have a trading opportunity pretty much very, very soon. So first option is, how do we take advantage of this? If I want to trade back into it, how am I going to do it? All right, what kind of things am I going to look for? All right, now the first thing to look for is, because it's not falling on a big round number or a fib level or anything like that, the only thing that's going to get me into this trade that way is either divergence or price action of the candle patterns. All right. Now the divergence, there's not really much. There's a little bit. So this is definitely going upwards, and over here it's kind of very flat. So it's kind of, but it's not. It's not the best divergence. All right. It's not really what I'm looking for, and this level is not quite square up with that. So that's a no. All right. So what I'm looking for is, I'm going to need to come down a time frame and look for something different. So let's do that. Let's step into a 1 hour chart. Okay, on a 1 hour chart. Oh, okay. What I really want is, I want a really nice bullish candle to take out this mess and shove me into the other side. So let me go back to my 4 hour and zoom in. It'd be easier to show you what I really would like. I want that blue candle, the current blue candle right now. I want it to go up and close higher than that level there, with as small as possible wicks. If I get that, if I get a candle that kind of looks like that, then I'm happy to trade it, and I'll put my stop just below that low that I've just come from. Okay. What you may also want to do is, if you get that, we may get a fishing strip type entry, so we can double check on that. Give me 1 second. I just want to check. I want to put a Bollinger Band on and just see what it looks like. Oh, so I'm very, very far away from it. I thought that I may have got it, but it's not. Okay, so really what I'm looking for is, I'm looking for price action. Okay, and I'm looking for this candle to eat up those two, both of them. Okay, and close above. If I get that, I'm happy to take a long trade in. All right, now for the challenge, the other trade that I can get, and this is a set level, it's a fib level, it's a nice one, is basically taking this low to that high and then coming down to here. I've got a 78.6, and it's close enough to the 144 level. Okay, it's at 143.96.6. It's about 3.2 pips, but I'm happy to trade it, so I'm going to put in a buy over there to go in that direction. Okay, now before we get to that level, we may get another trade there out of the channel, and we will be looking for the same identical things that we would be looking for in that direction there. Does that make sense to everybody? Yep. Okay. Well, I'm going to place this one, the pending, because it's way out of the money, and then we'll have to just watch and see. So this will be a buy. Okay. And then we'll watch and see what happens for the channel trade. So you're going to have to, so those are 4 hour candles, so you're going to have to wait till the next candle to basically make a decision whether we break downwards or we break upwards. So, all right, but in the meantime, I'm buying at 144. My stop's going to be at 143.80, so it's a 20.40, and I'm going to put a target at 44.40. Okay, and I'm going to tag it Monday and place it. Okay, so what I'm basically doing is I've placed the order to come down to the fib level and then bounce off it. Okay. Alright, any questions guys? Type them in while I summarize all the trades that we've placed today. Let me have a look at my pending orders, but if you have any questions just type them in and I'll address it for you. So okay, so I've got three orders. I've got a sell limit on the GBP USD at 162 to 2040. I've got a sell on the Euro Yen at 138.50 and I've got a buy on the Euro Aussie at 144. All of them are 2040s. There they are. They're all listed. These three trades form part of the trading challenge. Whether we get triggered or not is another question, but they'll be in there. Okay. Keep an eye on this candle. Okay. This candle started at 4, 8. Just trying to figure out when this candle finishes. Give me 1 second. Okay, we've got 3 hours and 30 minutes before this candle closes. All right, so there's plenty of time that you can come back and you can check on this one. Any final questions, guys?